Well, thank you to Innovator MD for inviting us here to share what we are doing. I will say that, Alan, that was great. That's something that I struggle with on a daily basis and certainly think about and would love to have further discussions with you about what you guys are doing. As I was just introduced, my name is Ian Madom. I'm a practicing orthopedic spine surgeon in Rhode Island. Um, and I'm the co-founder of Mockingbird. My co-founder, Dr. George Fernane, who is an interventional cardiologist in New York, and we both struggle to find and squeeze more time out of our days. We find care delivery, it's constantly interrupted with increasing administrative tasks. I'm not telling anybody here things that they don't realize. And at the end of my day, I go home and I take time out of my family life to go complete continuing medical education on numerous and increasing number of licenses and certifications that I hold. But then the requirements for all those certifications, they change on a regular basis. So I don't even know what I need to get done. And then the education that I'm doing has very little impact on my practice because I'm either doing it last minute or it's not really of the quality that's going to have an impact on my practice. Maybe it's not even germane to what I do if I just had to do an opioid training last minute and has nothing to do with orthopedics. I end up checking a box, and by definition, this is an inefficient process. So Toby Cosgrove, who was the former CEO of Cleveland Clinic, said this about innovation in our current healthcare system. And it's not a nice to have anymore. It's a must have. And it wasn't really a comment meant to talk about new treatments and devices. It was really more important that we have innovative processes in the healthcare system, and this is an area that I think is ripe to change the process and the way that our clinicians continue to educate themselves and keep their licenses and their certifications current. And this is funny because Alan had a slide similar to us, a saying like this in his slide, and we set out to do this, and the thing that I say all the time is, I want the right education at the right place at the right time. I need to get the stuff that relates to me. I want to do it on the device or where I'm able to do it, not when somebody's dictating it to me. And I don't want to be doing it last minute because it really doesn't work. So in our research with our customers that we've gone out to, there's really three big pain points that they needed addressed, and we agreed with this. We kind of saw this from the outside, but validated it with a bunch of research. And one is that there's multiple requirements out there, right? People have board certifications or multiple certifications. They have licenses, and with increasing telemedicine use, multiple state licenses, and then they have their hospital requirements or payer requirements. All of these things are asynchronous. So the state licenses don't even line up, and the rules are completely inane. So some licenses will renew on an odd year if your letter is one thing versus an even year on another, or maybe it has to do with your birthday in some states, or it's a certain date, a specific date for everybody in other states. And then the documentation for all of these things is redundant and voluminous. It's just, there's so much documentation that needs to get done, and it's in somebody's file cabinet or in a folder someplace on their computer or in a spreadsheet in the med staff office. It doesn't make sense, and people end up running around aimlessly to get all the documentation done last minute. So a case study on this, I thought it would be interesting to look at what my co-founder, George, his professional requirements are as an example. And this slide has a lot going on, right? It's because he has a lot to do. He carries 3 state licenses. He has 4 different board certifications. And then he has all these other expirables, each with their own set of requirements. And the number of hours he spends for each of these licenses is crazy. But most of it actually isn't doing the education. It's spent hours looking for a new education opportunity, or what the requirements are, or getting documentation done, searching for things that are truly just purely administrative tasks. And if you look at really the breakdown of what he's dealing with on his own, is he has to research the requirements. Well, there's complex regulations out there. Some states don't even have the right regulations on their websites. We've discovered that in our research and have corrected states on it. They have to review what their status is. Where do they sit? Well, do they have a spreadsheet on their computer, or is it at the med staff office? Or maybe it's in their desk on a piece of paper. And then they got to find the relevant content that pertains to that specific requirement. Some states have specific courses versus, and you might be able to take that course and apply it to multiple states and maybe not. And is it even good? Then, that shouldn't be the last question that we're asking, all to fulfill your license. When we just want to create a system that Mockingbird will basically remove all the administrative burden for the healthcare providers so that they can just spend time on learning to do their jobs better. Better performance will equal better outcomes, in our opinion. So Mockingbird is a software as a service solution that has a rules engine built behind it with all of the rules for these different certifications and licenses for all ABMS specialties and state requirements, and tracks the progress towards maintaining that credential or expirable, and offers curated education to meet those requirements through a digital CME marketplace. And so our primary user is the healthcare provider, but there's other stakeholders that can benefit from Mockingbird as well, namely in the ecosystem, namely executives, the healthcare executive team, which can benefit from better engagement by clinicians and also reducing their compliance risk. And then the support team, like the med staff office, that can stop chasing down providers and get a better handle on CME expense, or even our administrators in our practices that, you have high value team members spending time chasing people down and doing administrative tasks on behalf of providers when they could be helping to grow a practice or servicing patients' needs. When it comes to competitors, there's quite a few competitors in the space, but nobody that manages the full life cycle for healthcare providers in their ongoing credentialing needs. So we don't offer true credentialing, the act of credentialing yet, but we take the baton once that provider obtains an expirable, and we keep them on track until it's time to renew that certificate or that license once again. Our team is the thing that I'm probably the most proud of. So we brought on, as you met earlier, George Fernane and I brought on Brad Artery, who's a former Submariner and comes from the finance world, and also spent some time with a startup before coming to us. But he has built this diverse team that comes from really a diverse background, from Citizens Bank to Athena Health, startup grind, even high fashion of Etro. We purposefully have built a team that goes outside of healthcare to bring in diverse experiences in building our company. We also have highly engaged product and business advisory boards that continue to help guide the business and help develop the product. We have a specific product board with healthcare providers on it that are continuously engaged in how we continue to develop new offerings to our customers. We're primarily a B2B offering, so we have a model for recurring revenue with a group subscription with B2C options available. And then there's additional opportunities with our integrated learning management system and white labeling, and also creating partnerships with CME content distribution. We do not create content, we aggregate content and then curate it for our users. This is a financial plan that the only thing I can say about it, as Brad and I say, it's inevitably going to be wrong. But the main thing that is the takeaway here is what our goals are on the growth of users for our company. We are on track to have 10,000 users by the end of the year and over 50,000 users by the end of next year, which will allow us to pursue our financing goals. And our ask right now is strategic partnerships with folks. We do have investment opportunities as well. We are currently starting our outreach for a seed round that we will likely be raising about $2.5 million with our plans to then turn that into additional business growth so that we can go to a Series A next year for scaling purposes. Thank you.